What's up, tribe? It's Lanny Smith, the founder of Actively Black, and I am here on The Quiet Truth, kicking it with my fellas, man. We talking that truth.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sleeping from building my dream. Costs something, I'm paying the price. Being black owned, it's not a description, it is a feature. My mom has shared those stories of being pregnant with me, running out of gas, and somebody having to help her and pay for gas because he had maxed out all the credit cards, took out everything out of the bank to feed that addiction. Multiple of those people that I hired stole from me.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
All right, we're back in it. All right, E, do your traditional one. You lead in.
Lead in 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3.
That's what's up.
Yes. There are things we all know, but rarely say out loud.
Because the hardest things to say are the easiest patterns to repeat.
I am Anytime Barriola II, cultural architect, best-selling author, and co-founder of St. Miles.
I am Martin Nekachukwu, entrepreneur, investor, and founder of What Works.
You got to read your bio?
Not this time. Not this time, man. Not this one.
And every week we sit down with cultural architects, leaders of the new school, and the cool kids to have conversations that most people aren't willing to have out loud.
And today we have the absolutely amazing Lanny in the building.
Yes.
Yo, I mean, listen, I can't even tell you how excited I am to have this man in the building. The things he's doing for culture, the things he's doing for all of us, the things that he's doing for as an entrepreneur, as the man that's moving around and pivoting every moment he can.
Yeah.
This is what it is. So I'm not gonna butcher your intro. I'd love, Lanny, for you to just tell us, First of all, let's just acknowledge this is Fashion Week. My man basically said he's been like on 1 hour sleep.
It is Fashion Week, 1 hour sleep. And before your intro, man, I just want to give a quick second, man, to shout out the ladies in our lives, man. Like, I don't think that kind of goes unnoticed. The quiet truth is that it takes some real orchestration to make this happen and get here, and just the sacrifice that they make to allow us to show up and deliver this quiet truth. We appreciate you, ladies. Tish, thank you. I love you, girl.
Thank you, Tamara.
Yeah.
She be watching.
Yeah.
I know she's got some notes for me.
Yeah.
Shout out to my queen Bianca, who's here with me.
Yes. Yes.
On this grind and on this journey with me. So yeah.
That's love, man. So yeah, tell us, man. Tell us about what you're wearing. Tell us about the company. Tell us about the feeling now, more so that you were getting ready to embark upon. Is it the third?
This is the third
show.
And the last, but yeah, the third New York Fashion Week show for Actively Black.
And last, right? So before we even get into the intro, like, capture this moment of what you were currently feeling. How was your spirit, brother?
Man, I'm overwhelmed but blessed, man.
Yeah.
Like, every time somebody asks me how you doing, I say overwhelmed but blessed, because I am in a state of overwhelm. Like, that's just the truth of the matter. You know what I'm saying? But I also understand and recognize, like, I'm blessed with this overwhelm. You know what I mean? Like, I know some people who are overwhelmed in a different way. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't feel like this. Like, I'm blessed with the I don't even call it a burden, the weight of what God has blessed me to build. You know what I'm saying? And so, even though it does take a lot out of me, as you said, I'm going off 1 hour of sleep.
Yeah.
But I'm not sleeping from building my dream. I'm building my vision. So I much rather that than, there's some hardworking people who work in a night shift who are having to do this, run off of no sleep. And they're spending them hours doing what they have to do to pay the bills, and it may not be something that they love. You know what I'm saying? So I'm blessed to do something that I love, that I'm passionate about, even though I'm not getting no sleep. So,
yeah, man. I think it's like a season of what we don't often talk about, is the joy and the pain that coexist on this journey.
1,000%.
It's like, again, you look to your left, it's joy. You look to your right, it's devastation. It's like, how do you choose which to embrace, which to receive in that season? And I'm glad that you have the mindset of, like, even though this costs a lot, it's worth it because it's purpose driven, and it's feeding the culture and the community in a way that's so deeper and greater than yourself, man.
Nah, man, you said it. I mean, I was watching some of a previous episode, and I heard you guys talking about, like, it costs something.
Woo.
Bro, it costs something. And I was like, You would have thought I was in church, man. I was like, hey, man, like, man, it costs something, you know, but I'm paying the price.
And the price, honestly, is one we have to pay, though. I feel like you are choosing to pay this price for this
1000%.
movement, right? Because you could be doing a lot of other things. You could be take an amazing job, making several million a year. You could be overseas. You could be consulting. You could be at the MBA in the corporate office doing the things. But you're like, no, I'm actually doing the hard thing.
Yeah.
So I think the quiet truth in this episode is all about the quiet truth that everybody wants to build a movement, but no, you can't. Not everyone can build a movement. We all want to. And so there's a cost to trying to build that movement. You're giving up yourself on an ongoing basis. Everything you've put money, time, effort. You've put yourself on the line to be open to criticism. I was talking to someone who happens to be of color, who we or now shall remain nameless, and they were like, "Why does it gotta be actively black? That doesn't make any sense. Why is it like actively Chinese? Why is it actively? Why is it gotta be actively?" I'm like, "Yo, man, why are you hating? First of all,
They wanted to be inactively black.
but it's like, why are you hating on the fact that this particular movement is helping us be more prideful in who we are?"
You know what though? You know what? It's interesting. You know, when I get that type of feedback, sometimes I feel like there's a. I'm gonna try to be nice because I really,
nice. This is not
I really
nice.
want to say
This is not a nice podcast.
I really want
Yeah,
to say
say-
there's a colonized mindset.
Thank you. Say the
that
thing.
we often have.
Say the thing, bro.
Because I don't hear anybody make that commentary when a luxury brand makes sure you know that this is from Paris.
Yeah.
This is Italian leather.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like this is Parisian. They're gonna make sure that you know that because in their minds, it's a feature. You know what I mean? This is something that adds value to why you want to wear this or why you want to be a part of this. And so, you know, this discussion I've been having often recently, where I'm telling people like, man, being black owned, championing being black owned and championing black culture is it's not a description. It is a feature.
Oh shit.
It is a feature.
I like that.
When you think about everything
feature,
that
bro.
black culture has created in this world, and you think about the value that it has brought to this world, if it's created by black people, it is a feature.
Man, that's
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? We here in New York, man.
That's
It's the
butter.
birthplace of hip hop.
Yeah.
When those black and brown kids were creating hip hop,
Yeah.
they weren't, how do we create this for the world? They were like,
yeah.
This
This is
represents
ours.
us.
For
And it's just an authentic representation of who we are, of what we go through, of what our environment is. And then the rest of the world adopted it. The rest of the world, there was a breakdance competition in the Olympics this year, and an Australian won the gold medal.
Hey, man. Wish. Did
You know
they
what
get
I'm
rid of it after?
It's gone. One and done.
One and done.
Hey, man. Misrepresentation.
So it's like I think, man, I'm gonna get chills every time I talk about something. I was literally on the phone with Ilyasa Shabazz, Malcolm X's daughter, on the way over here, and there was I remember there was this scene in Spike's Malcolm X movie where Malcolm was talking about the definition of black, and you look up black and there's all the negative connotation associated with it. And I think subconsciously some of our people have bought into that. You know, why should you feel any other way about black when in our neighborhoods, those stores that are owned by the Asian community, they're up in their languages.
Yep, of course.
You know what I'm saying?
Proudly.
When I go into a Mexican restaurant, I see a sombrero on the wall. I see the Mexican flag. There's Mexican music playing, and I'm enjoying their culture and appreciating it. And it doesn't make me feel any less, or that I have to be, hold my head down or anything for not being Mexican in a Mexican restaurant. I don't ever stop in front of an Italian restaurant and say, man, I'm not Italian, I can't go in here.
Right.
So why is it that when we think of our own, there is this like, man, maybe you shouldn't be so loud about that? Like,
Because I
maybe you
think that we've all gotten to a point as a culture, as black people, where we're like, if we're too loud, we get talked back to or we talk to about. If we do something that's too much of a situation, I was like, you can't do that because white folks are around.
Yeah.
You can't do this because these people are around. Everyone else is gonna feel some kind of way.
You even whisper when you say white. You know that white woman.
No, for real. And we do this.
What do you do? Like what? Why?
Like all the time.
Been conditioned, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We are conditioned to want to be able to make ourselves smaller because we know that if we make ourselves bigger, we're now a target, and we don't want to be a target. And that's what I'm saying. I feel like everybody wants to talk about, black this, black that, but no one's actually putting themselves out there. No one that I've seen besides you and maybe a handful of people.
In the way that you do it.
In the way that you do it, that calls out and says the thing. Like I so appreciated when you talked about how you're gonna be able to use materials and cotton from black farmers.
On the way from on the last trip here, on the way out of the airport, driving down the street, Martin picks me up. And we see this guy walking on, I don't know why he was walking onto the freeway. Nevertheless, this brother had the shirt on, bro.
Yeah.
We took a video of it. We'll put the video right up here. But I mean, it was wild to see, like, what delusional story did you tell yourself?
Yeah.
Because it was originally Active Faith, right? The original brand.
That's actually a separate brand.
Oh, it's a totally separate brand
that I'm still working on
relaunching.
Because
I love the storytelling and the narrative there.
1000%.
But what delusional story did you tell yourself? And I say delusional because anything we do at a high level that pushes past the surface, you got to be kind of like,
bro,
you have to have
be crazy.
You got to be a little.
You do.
Because you're seeing something that's not there.
I appreciate you using that word. Literally, Bianca could tell you, she's in the next room. I have had to remind myself on multiple occasions where I speak to myself and I say, stay in your delusion right now.
Yeah.
Stay in your delusion.
I like that.
Because when I allow myself to look at reality, it can feel scary. Like, bro, how far has your delusion carried you out? And then you're like, wait, this is where I am with this. And you look at the reality and it can be scary. The reality of this show that we're doing in New York Fashion Week on Friday is scary. But when I allow myself to stay in that delusion, it isolates me from that fear. I mean, you got to understand, like I was blessed to play in the NBA. You have to be delusional to think that there's only 450 jobs. You go to any high school in America and ask any of them young men what they want to do. Oh, I'm going to the league. It's 10 million kids trying to get to the NBA, and you think you're going to be one of 450? You got to be delusional. Now, the difference is there are people that have the work ethic to match the delusion. So when I was coming up, like, I missed a lot of parties that my boys was going to because I was in the gym getting extra shots in because I was in my delusion. Like, oh, I'm going to the league. I can't hang out right now. I got to get these extra shots up. You know what I'm saying? So my dedication to my delusion, I will say, is something that has helped me for sure. But to answer your question, it was right after the murder of George Floyd, and we kind of saw all of the what I call performative declarations that a lot of these brands and corporations started to make, and it pissed me off because, to me, George Floyd wasn't an outlier. That's been happening. These things have been happening to our people for decades, and none of you brands was saying anything. So it felt performative in the moment to me. And I think 4 or 5 years later, we see that a lot of it was, right? But in that moment, I also said to myself, well, instead of asking for these people to care about us and to do the right thing, let's just stop asking for a seat at the table and build our own table. You know what I'm saying? And so I grew up wearing a lot of these brands that I know have profited billions of dollars off of black culture, black talent, black consumerism. And so I was like, why not build our own that celebrates those very things, and we build in giving back to our community and uplifting our people in it, so we don't have to ask nobody else to do it. And the delusion that I had was, I read Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, and I'm reading this story of him selling shoes out the trunk at a track meet. That's how Blue Ribbon Sports, which became Nike, that's how it started. So he had to be delusional. Adidas was the top dog at the time. Converse was the top dog at the time. And Phil Knight was like, I can build something bigger and better than that. And at the time, people thought he was crazy. Nike is the biggest brand in the world right now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I have this delusion that I can build a brand that is black owned, that does not compromise how we stand and represent black culture, and we can build $1 billion brand ourselves. So that's the delusion that I told myself.
So who, listen, along the way of entrepreneurship, you have people that will discourage you.
Yeah.
Be like, nah, you shouldn't call it actively black. You shouldn't have black in it. You should be like, do something else. You know, why are you going into space? Why are you doing that? You know what? Do you even have the background and the skill set to even do this?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's just the process, unfortunately, of kind of getting through it. The delusional state of nature. You have to push through that delusion to get through it. Then there's another set of delusion. Like, can I take this company to 100 million? Am I crazy enough that I can do that?
Right.
So who told you that you were crazy? Like, don't do this. They try to discourage you. Did people tell you that? Everybody.
Everybody. I know I can count on one hand, and I still wouldn't use up all my fingers of the people who were like, who saw what, even if they didn't see what I saw, they believed in what I was sharing with them with this vision that I had. You know what I mean? But everybody else, I heard all of it. Like, man, if you put black in the name, it will not be successful. Why call it actively black? Everybody told me that it would fail. I mean, outside of my mama and my girl, I'm trying to think if there was anybody. Kwame Anku. Let me shout out Kwame Anku, founder of Black Star Fund.
Black brother, I mean, a bald head brother.
Yes,
I met him on Clubhouse way back in the day. That's one of them real ones, man.
Nah, he on one conversation.
One of the real ones.
He Kwame invested the first $50,000 into Actively Black.
Wow.
Before I had a product.
Wow. That's belief.
Before I had a product, we had a conversation, and funny enough, he was contacting me to talk about investing in active faith. And I was just telling him about this vision that I have for Actively Black, and he called me back, and he's like, man, let me hear a little bit more about that vision. Had the conversation, and literally he believed from that first convo. So I always make sure to honor Kwame Anku, because you know, I could talk about all the doubters and the haters and all that kind of, but at the end of the day, I have had some people who have believed in this, you know what I'm saying? But even beyond that, I believed in it. And that same delusion from that kid who said I was gonna play in the NBA from 5 years old, and people laughed then. But I never doubted that I was going to play in the NBA. And I think that comes from, honestly, that comes from my mother, man. My mother is country girl from Gina, Louisiana. Both of her parents stopped school in the 4th grade. They were sharecroppers. They had to help pick cotton in the field. Those are my grandparents.
Wow.
My mother was the first to graduate high school, the first to graduate from college. She became a computer programmer, moved to Houston, Texas. One of the top computer programmers in the state of Texas. You're talking about every healthcare company, every oil and gas company was vying for her services. So you think about, you guys seen the movie Hidden Figures?
Yeah, of course.
That's my mama, right?
Wow.
And so I grew up with that superhero in my home. When you think about a black woman, early 80s in Texas as a computer programmer from Gina, Louisiana.
Wow.
So you can't tell me that I can't achieve whatever I want. Nobody can tell me that. I saw it in my home.
So it was built immediately into you. It was built in your DNA. It's almost like how energy and other things we talked about with Dr. Boateng about things
is in our DNA.
are brought into our DNA, right? So your mom's struggle, her ability to see past that moment into the next moment to get into her own delusion that she can do this thing. That level of delusion seeped into her DNA and got into you to give you the energy to go into your next thing.
1,000%.
Man, so do you consider yourself to come from a place of privilege, though? Like not everybody has that story. You have a strong family unit that puts you in pocket.
I would say the duality of my childhood experience has given me great perspective. So my father, from Detroit, one of the top basketball players in Detroit, but my father was in the streets. kind of derailed his whole basketball thing, ended up going to the Navy. And for those that know what those early 80s for black men was like, my dad ended up, you know, becoming addicted to crack cocaine. So even part of the strength that I saw in my mother was everything she had to deal with what that created in the home, you know. So there was a lot of trauma that stemmed from that aspect. So at the same time that I got this superhero, I also am dealing with this other side that I know a lot of black children that grew up in that. I mean, I'm an 80s baby, that they had to deal with some of those issues, you know what I'm saying? And that caused a lot of pain for me early on, and my mother and my brother, you know what I mean? There's a lot of pain with that, you know what I'm saying? So I think there was just this duality to my situation where I could see both sides. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could understand my friends who didn't have any hope. That I got friends that did 10 years in prison. You know what I'm saying? I've got friends that have had those had went that route. Yeah. And I understand the circumstances. Yeah. And then I also understand that because of what my mother was able to show me, it also influenced me on the decisions that I made, and it also influenced my that I didn't have any limits to my dreams. You know what I'm saying? So I never fell into that hopelessness. Yeah, I mean, so yeah.
What was the core in you? Because we talked about joy and pain, right? And like you have this duality, you have a decision to make looking at both parents. Even still, there are people who had a mother present who maybe not as brilliant in the same kind of narrative as your mother, but they had that positive influence, and then they had a father who didn't have that necessarily. Like, how did you? What was it in your core that still made you gravitate toward the decision that led you on the trajectory that you're on today?
I think it was the amount of pain that I saw my mother go through. There was a part of me. So I grew up hating my father, like deep hate. That today, like, is actually part of my testimony. You know what I'm saying? Because I was able to have a conversation as an adult with my father that gave me perspective on his life, that allowed me to have empathy, that allowed me to forgive him. You know what I mean?
God
like
on that, man.
My dad is clean today. You know what I'm saying? Like I can say I'm proud of my father. You know what I'm saying? Which there were many years in my life that if somebody even mentioned my father, I was ready to fight because I hated dude. So I think to answer your question, I had this mindset of like, I'm gonna be the opposite of everything that he is. I wiped my mother's tears as a child, and no child should be having to protect their mother from their father. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had them nights. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is one of them shows we could be real. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. That's the point.
Yeah.
So my mother didn't get to truly enjoy the fruits of her labor until later on in my life, because everything that was happening with my father's addiction was destroying everything in the home, the finances, the everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Pops, I love you, man. So I know you know where my heart is with this. So when you see this, like, know this is coming from a great place. You know, I can remember coming home and like whatever appliances was in the house was gone.
Wow. TV
was gone because Pops wouldn't pawn that to go feed the crack addiction. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. My mom has shared those stories of being pregnant with me and running out of gas and somebody having to help her and pay for gas because he had maxed out all the credit cards, took out everything out of the bank to feed that addiction. And she's pregnant with me, having to figure out how am I gonna get home. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there was a part of me that was like just anti whatever my father was, and because we also shared this love for basketball, right? And he had his journey where he was one of them guys, was supposed to be somebody in basketball, and that didn't happen for him. I know that also was a point of how did my mother put it? There was a point where I think my father resented me because I was having some of the success with basketball and with that he didn't have. You know what I'm saying? I remember my father going off on my mom about my mom spending some money to buy me some Jordans. And he was like, I had one pair of shoes for 5 years. Why does he need another pair of shoes?
Wow.
And my mom was like, the whole point is so that they don't have to grow up the way we did. You know what I'm saying? But my dad was kind of stuck in this, almost a comparison. Like, I didn't have none of this growing up. You know what I'm saying? And so I think, you know,
I feel like all of that, hearing you say that, it feels like all of that was the impetus to get you to today.
My God.
I feel like all of these things, I feel like everyone has a stack of experiences that pushes through a boundary that now makes you who you are. You were built to do this and to create this brand for this people because of your origin story, right? That origin story makes everybody who they are. And it's like the fact that you had a difficult home, loving mother, obviously a tragic story with your father and his addiction, but if you hadn't gone through that seeing all of it and then understood about how to manage loving yourself and loving us in spite of all the shit, how could you have gotten to this point?
So, man, one, you're spot on. I don't know. I'm also a bit of a nerd, man. I don't know if y'all watch Andor. It's a Star Wars.
Yeah, of course,
series.
absolutely.
So there's this one scene that hit me like a ton of bricks, and it was basically like what you just said. Andor was walking through the rebel base, and this lady looked at him and she said, "There's certain people who, when they're going through life, there's certain people who are collecting experiences for the purpose that they're going to have."
Was that his mom?
Yes.
Or his
No,
aunt?
it was
his aunt, his mom.
it was like she was like supposed to be like almost like a fortune teller type of thing. And she looked at him and she was like, there's something about you. She's like, you know, certain people experience things and then certain people are collecting these experiences for this purpose. And when she said that, it hit me because I have recognized what you just said. Every step of my journey in my life has led to what I'm walking in right now. Even with my father, like in those times where he was sober and he wasn't high, my dad was reading Alex Haley, Malcolm X, and he was teaching me that my dad was telling me about the Black Panthers. You know what I'm saying? Like my mother and my father, they were telling me about that as a child. And then later on, even as I had that conversation with my dad, that brought things into perspective. Black man growing up in the era that he grew up in, him and both his brothers, so 3 brothers, all served this country. He was Navy. His oldest brother was Marines. And then his younger brother was Army. And I've talked to my uncles as well. They all have these stories of the sacrifice of going off and serving this country and coming back and being treated like shit. And feeling like, man, like as a black man, even to put your life on the line for this country, to come back and still be treated the way they were treated. And so my dad was telling me these stories that on those ships in the Navy, the white sailors would take the black sailors' clothes sometimes and throw them overboard, knowing that they would get in trouble for it.
Wow.
Because you gotta have your
All
shit. You know what I'm saying? And so my dad was often, what they call it, on the brig, in the brig, because he was fighting all the time in the Navy, these white boys who were always messing with them. You know what I'm saying? And so when I started to put together the pieces of his life, growing up in the projects, dealing with everything he dealt with, going to the military, dealing with that, coming back, having trouble finding employment, you know, mental health is something we talk about now. Like, you know what I'm saying? wasn't no therapist for them. You know what I'm saying? So then it becomes easier to understand how somebody could chase this high just to escape the reality. You know what I'm saying? And then you become addicted, and then it spirals out of control. So then it was like, you were a black man in a system that was built to tear you down, to get you to that point.
Yep.
And while there's certain things I can never forget that happened, I now have empathy for you because the experience that you had is what led you down that. And yeah, man. So all of that I bring with me every day to what I do. When we support this program called Between the Lines, we go inside prisons. We go inside prisons, play basketball with these incarcerated individuals and get a chance to sit down and talk to them, because I know you may not be the monster that society has made you to be, but there's a story here that society don't give a damn about, because it's actually purposeful to make sure that there's this pipeline going into this prison. You know what I'm saying? Like, so my dad has given me perspective that actually has served my own purpose.
So, and I think that's why it goes back to, like, the quiet truth being that everyone wants to build a movement, but no one has the story to kind of get there, right? And no one has the work ethic and frankly, the background in deep-rooted challenges and issues they have to go through kind of get to that precipice, because you've built something more than apparel brand. You really have. You've built something that actively Black could sit on. That could be papers and pens and pads and shoes, whatever it might be, TV shows, animation, whatever it might be. It's now crossed beyond the fabric that you create into a feeling of being part of something that is part of culture.
And I'll add that I'll push back a little bit and say I don't think that nobody has those stories, or nobody has the agility or the desire to build in that way, right? I think we all are very creative and come from something. I love your story because I often say that nothing is wasted and everything is watered, especially in Christ's perspective, right? Like, he's going to use everything, and it's all going to count, right? And
all things.
I think about those entrepreneurs that you may be talking about, right? Like, what is in your journey and in your perspective, what's the biggest lie told about Black entrepreneurship?
Ooh, the biggest lie told about Black entrepreneurship. I would say that, one, I don't know if this is considered a lie, but I just believe that there's so many of us that come from some origin story, right? That I think shapes our perspective, that shapes our creativity. You know what I'm saying? That allows us to. Black people are so resourceful. We're so creative. We've always been that way, and I think part of that is because of these experiences that generationally we have collected.
Right.
I think we just lack the resources that our counterparts get access to scale our creativity, or to retain ownership of our creativity.
Kwame giving you that investment changed everything.
Like, there's a million Black people with an idea that could help this world, but they may not ever get access to the resources that are going to allow. Now, I also say that like, get started wherever you are, because I also believe that the path illuminates itself after you start walking it. You know what I'm saying?
You're looking at this in real time. This podcast, it's like the path has illuminated itself after we started walking, from idea to execution.
I think one lie that's told about entrepreneurship is that we don't support. I think this might be this might counterbalance my argument from our last episode a little bit, which was that we don't support each other in our brands. And actually,
speak on it, brother.
I believe, from hearing you and now seeing the story, I believe we do. But the thing is, we need to be able to have enough of an emotional grounding
gotta be right.
to it
Yes.
for us to kind of coalesce around it, right?
Yeah.
If you like, yo, I just put
feed
out
us.
like a pair of shoes, like, so what?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
But
gotta
if it's
be
like, yo,
right,
here's
man.
the story and the
Yeah.
depth and the knowledge and the this, and then you have to have enough people that we respect see it, and now we see it everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's got to have some level of
But is there
memento.
truth to the idea that we're critical or something along those lines when it
I
comes
think
to
we're
us? Because
especially
we'll
critical.
go out and buy some gum from whoever. We'll go out and buy whatever from whoever. It doesn't have to be a story or some connection. But then when it comes to us, is it true that you gotta have you can't just
It's both. It's both.
Yeah.
I think it's both,
Yeah.
man. When I think about so one on the first part, we definitely support each other.
yeah.
Actively Black would not exist
Speak
to
on
be
it.
where it is right now if Black people were not supporting Actively Black. And I'm gonna actually make a concerted effort to make sure that I emphasize that more, because yeah, there are a lot of haters. Yeah, there's a lot of, negativity. There's a lot of people who, will try to tear you down. But there's also a lot of people who are lifting you up. You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Yep.
And for every hater that there is, man, it's 5 tribe members that will send me a message or just see me on the street and be like, yo, thank you for what you're doing, man. Or you don't even know how much what you're building is inspiring me. You know what I'm saying?
What's that feel like, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, just somebody pulling up because you sat in a dungeon, quote unquote, right? And it's just dark, and it's just you and your team, and you're putting this thing together. You got all these ideas, and one day you look up,
Yeah.
and you run into people where you go, and you may see somebody in the cut, like, man, look, he's got my shirt on, bro. Yes, we got my shirt on. Like, what is that? What is that emotion?
It's the most surreal thing in the world to me, man. I launched Actively Black during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So even beyond it being a D2C ecom brand to begin with, also we were just all isolated. You know what I'm saying? So we were just in my apartment building this thing, and social media is social media, and you can see things or whatever, but it's so different when in real life you're seeing somebody wearing the product.
Yeah, them numbers translate different in real life,
Oh,
bro.
man.
The follower numbers that count, it look
man.
different in real life.
It's insane. And so I remember we went to Ghana in 2022. And this is what really this is what tripped me out. This is what let me know, like, oh, this is different. Ran into somebody in the airport in LA wearing the brand. We had a stop in DC. Somebody else in the airport was wearing the brand in DC. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. Bro, we get to Africa. We're checking into, man, I cannot remember the name of the hotel. And
What country?
in Ghana, in Accra. And we decided to go, by the pool to just grab something to eat. I got the pictures too. I'm gonna make sure I got the pictures and the video because I just could not believe it.
We got it. We're gonna post it right here.
This dude walks outside and he's wearing Actively Black.
Bruh, come on, you gotta tell me what that felt
Bro,
like,
I mean,
man.
it's like to
What
go to
is
another
that?
country and have your brand.
It's one thing to see
be
it on
there.
the way.
Bro, hold on. This goes a step further. So
okay.
that's the first day of the trip.
Don't tell me you saw Jesus with it next.
Right.
Jesus showed up.
At this point,
Jesus was black with Actively Black on.
But then so before I went, it was man, I'm drawing a blank. What's my man's name? Ryan Coogler. Ryan Coogler was the one who was like, bro,
Shout out
you
to
gotta
Oakland. Shout out shout out to the Bay Area.
He was doing a fireside chat promoting the Wakanda Forever. And I told him how much the first Black Panther movie inspired me, and it's really, when I walked out of the theater from watching that movie, I said, man, I want to create a brand that makes my people feel the way Black Panther made us feel. So not even knowing that was a seed that was planted that ended up becoming Actively Black, right?
Wow.
So I'm sharing that with him, and we're having this discussion about some of these diaspora wars and things like that, because I told him I appreciated how he wrote the Killmonger character. And he was like, have you been to the continent? And I was like, nah, I ain't been yet. He's like, nah, you need to go, bro. We literally booked our flight that day. So when we get there, I told you the first day, I see somebody wearing Actively Black. Bro, we go visit the slave dungeons on the coast. I'm standing in these dungeons.
That was an ancestor.
And I thought I was gonna be just furious. I thought I was just gonna be angry. But Ryan had told me, he said, you're gonna be less angry after you go to the continent. That's what he told me. And so we walked through this arch, and it says a point of no return, where literally our ancestors, they herded them out of these slave dungeons to load them on the ships. Obviously, they never came back, right? But I walked through that arch and stood on that beach, and I was like, but I returned. So that means somebody in my lineage, in my DNA, had to survive Jim Crow, had to survive 400 years of slavery, had to survive the Middle Passage, all of that, for me to be able to say I returned. And then it was almost like, you know what? I get what Ryan said, because now I feel empowered. You know what I'm saying? I get back to the hotel. Letitia Wright, the new Black Panther, is in the lobby. I'm wearing the Black Panther Actively Black collab, and I meet the Black Panther. Bro, this all happened in Africa. So when you asking me, how it feels, I'm living in I don't know what's reality and what's dream anymore.
Man. Nah, that's it, brother. I love that. I love that.
I feel like we honestly could have so many incredible divergent conversations here, just about all of it, because I feel like the decisions, and I actually say this as well to my kids and to my family, the decisions that were made centuries ago put us right here in this room, in this moment, right? For us to know each other, for you to kind of experience building a brand from just
you can't even ignore that.
No, it's like centuries ago decisions.
Imagine
my dad deciding to move to the United States sat me here. Your father emigrating here sat you here. Your mom, your ancestors brought you here. So it's like
that brings me to I'll get on the floor and on my face and start praying and thanking God, because that's, you got to think about the idea that you're the greatest of these.
Yes.
So that when you went and you saw that sign and you returned, and you had that realization that somebody made space for you to be able to return and to be like, we had a conversation on identity. You know, our parents being Nigerian, our fathers, and always instilling in us when we were kids, and still like who we are, and where we come from, and the power in knowing that, man.
Yes.
Because you know where to go. Like when you have to step out, when you wake up in the morning and you get outside of your safety zone and you go outside, you turn on the news, you get on your phone, there's a constant attack on your identity. An attempt to disarm you, to take it away, all that, to disconnect you, to erase you. But when you can go to that quiet place that nobody can touch.
Because you know who you are. Bro, that's, so you touched on it. This isn't an apparel brand. There's greatness in our DNA. So what you're talking about is like that genetic code that has been passed down that you're able to tap into, because you know where you, like, there's greatness and there's strength in that, right? And so what I believe is that through oppression, through colonization, through the transatlantic slave trade, all those things, I think the division of our people obviously has been intentional, but because there has been some gaps in us being connected in that way, I think that's led to a lot of issues that we have in our communities. And so when I'm saying there's greatness in our DNA, I'm trying to remind us. It's almost like I'm trying to, you know, what's in your DNA is there, even if you don't recognize it. I'm trying to wake that back up to remind you there is greatness in your DNA. Our history didn't start with slavery. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've been great. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I call it the tribe, and I say the tribe, is because I'm trying to actually get all of us throughout the entire diaspora to look at this as, yo, if we actually look at this like we one tribe, bro, ain't nobody the minority over here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know.
We are literally the motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to, I'm trying to, I don't know how else to say it.
But we said this also on another podcast, which like we forget who we are. And we need to be reminded about the fact that we are meant to be here. We were driven to be here. Our DNA keeps us here. Our DNA has loyalty and royalty inside of it. The whole 9 yards, right? Because I think that the fact that you went back and you saw that connection, you're like, yo, my ancestors survived so I can do that. I cannot squander. I cannot take my time.
Come on.
I have to move swiftly and decisively and intentionally so that their sacrifice and their survival actually was worth it. Man, bro. Are we having church? I feel we're having church.
Man, what day is it?
It's church day. What's what it is.
And so you could go back to your man. You could say that's why it's actively black.
Actively.
Purposely.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's not. It's ain't nothing passive about this. Like it's actively black, and that's why. And also, I don't have to be anti anybody else to be pro us, to love us. Man, I got friends of all different races, cultures, backgrounds, all of that. You know what I'm saying? And I love them. Like, we got real love for each other. And me loving my people, me loving myself, me loving our culture doesn't take away from, you know, love can't be subtracted. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, well, I love this, but so if I love you, it's going to take away from this. That's not how love works. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
it compounds, brother. There's nothing you can do about love.
I got love for y'all.
Yeah.
But I love me and my people, and I'm trying to build something for my people. And, you know, even some of my people don't understand that, but I love them anyway.
A lot of us do.
But that's important though, is that you're loving them in spite of, which is what this is all about, right? And I think that's almost like how we as parents, you soon to be a father, look at things. Like, we're going to love you in spite of your mistakes and your flaws and your issues and your challenges, things you do, things you don't do. We're going to love you in spite of, and sometimes even with black culture, the black diaspora. No matter what, we're going to love you in spite of you not understanding, not supporting, not nothing. Tavia was on here recently when he said, listen, you know, sometimes I love black culture. Sometimes black culture does not love me. And I'm doing, but I'm here. He said, I'm here for a mission. My mission is to do this cause of delivering for black culture, even though black culture is not always reciprocate.
And I think part of that is, man, I take this back to what I was talking, what I learned about my father is, when you can zoom out and you see some of the intentional things that were done to our people, then you understand that some of our people are actually just acting out of trauma that they don't even know that they have.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that whole mentality of like the crabs in the barrel and all that kind of stuff, that's a trauma response, man. At the end of the day, it's a trauma response when that would happen in any scenario. You take any group of people and you put them in a Hunger Games scenario, or what's the joint that was the Korean show?
Squid Games.
Squid Game scenario. You put anybody in a situation where it's survival.
Everybody gonna turn.
Who you being black don't matter, because I gotta live. You know what I'm saying? So if it's only one of us can make it,
I'm gonna make it.
I'm gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that is the purposeful position that our people have been put into for many years. And so it's gonna take time. It's gonna take generations to heal that. You know what I mean? And so for me, even when I get pissed off at my people, even when I'm hurt by because I've been hurt by my people around this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got, man, I've had death threats from my own people. You know what I'm saying? I'm peeping what's happening. I already know what's going to happen with this. Actively Black is going to continue doing what it's doing, and after it passes a certain point, there's going to be a group of my own people who are going to turn on me because it has reached a certain level. I already know
like
it's going
Jesus
to happen.
And disciples.
Yeah, no, that's wisdom. I had a conversation about this. You know, we take the people that are homegrown. I mean, you could talk about Tabitha Brown, you could talk about Drake, you could talk about Diddy, you could talk about whoever you want, that we celebrate and lift up. Don't get too high now. Because
that's how we are, unfortunately.
We will pull you back down. But I love that in spite of that, you understand what love is. You know that people who like need love the most, showing in the most unloving ways, and we need our leaders to rise in this era. We need those who have been called and those who are on assignment to stand up in spite of all that other noise and build and connect and do the opposite of what you see it. You have that foresight and that vision. You can see that that this path is going to lead you to a great place, and you're going to be able to uplift our community and take the culture with you and change our mindset is beyond the clothes, man. The garments are the beginning of the conversation. It's a mindset that you've tapped into a code, and people that understand that, they love that and they support that. You have an audience that scales from like the highest of celebrity to the dude we saw walking on the freeway. Yeah. He looked like he might have even been homeless or something, you know what I'm saying? But he understands there's greatness in his DNA. So it's going to take that level of mindset to push back, because love is relentless. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's a beautiful display of love that you're doing. Now I think about, you know, the journey that you've been on, and obviously there's some pain points, right? Like, what is the one thing that almost killed your company, your business, that you may have not shared publicly?
Just one?
Hey, man. Because you know the season we're in. Yeah. And there's black entrepreneurs who are closing shop left and right.
Oh man, it's ugly out here. You know what I'm saying? I would say, man, there's been a couple. And that broke my heart, man, to be honest with you. Like, you gotta understand, when I was blessed to get a seed round by Rich Lou Dennis and New Voices Fund. And one, that just puts you in a whole different category, because less than 0.3% of all black founders receive any type of venture capital investment. So the fact that I was able to secure that was big. And the first thing I did, even though it was written in the investment thing that I could have taken something off the table to put in my own pocket just to, you know, the founders draw, the first thing I did was go hire a bunch of my people.
Yes.
And
talked about that.
Multiple of those people that I hired stole from me. Man, there's one in particular that I will say that I'm still praying on my healing and response to it, because it kind of shook me to my core that somebody that I was trying to uplift could do this. You know what I'm saying? So not gonna mention any names, but championing black women is something that is so important to me. If you know my story, you know how I feel about my mother.
We see it in the ads and the campaigns, man. The love is there.
That's something that means so much to me. So it was important to me that I made sure I hired black women, right? And I actually made it to where the black women that were employed by Actively Black were being paid more than the black men. And I know I might get some static for that, but I was intentional. I just wanted them to know I value you and what you bring, and I don't want you to feel you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to correct things that historically our women have had to deal with. Yep. And one of them that was stealing, would go buy, Gucci. She'd go on a shopping spree and then try to expense it to Actively Black. And I'm like, wait a minute, what is Actively Black? Why am I paying for your luxury apparel? Oh, well, we need to do some on-camera things. Well, if we're on camera,
you were Actively Black.
that just seems like it makes sense, right? You know what I'm saying? Yo, egregious. You know what I'm saying? In fact, it's crazy because the last time we did New York Fashion Week show, she was supposed to be working the show, got her flight out here, hotel, everything. Day of the show, we can't find her. We don't know where she is. We do the show anyway. We execute. We go on social media. We find out she in New York Fashion Week going to other people's shows.
Oh, bro.
On payroll.
Yo.
So, anyway, end up letting her go.
Yeah.
And then get the lawsuit that, but this is in the lawsuit. Refused to let me go on lunch breaks. Now we working remotely, right?
Where's the flag? I need
to
throw a flag on the flag.
Throw everything up.
We don't have a headquarters. There's no headquarters. Everybody's working remotely. So how did I stop you from making a sandwich? How did I stop you from ordering DoorDash? How did I stop you from that was never a discussion, right? But here's the one that broke me. She claimed that she was diagnosed with cancer, and I found out and fired her because she was diagnosed with cancer. Now listen, my grandmother, the one who stopped school in the 4th grade and worked in the fields so that my mom could be what she was, she died of breast cancer. My mother, I was a top 75 ranked basketball player in the country. I was recruited by everybody in the country, every conference you could think of. I stayed home at the University of Houston because going into my junior year, my mother had a breast cancer scare, and I was like, I'm not leaving home.
Wow.
So I didn't even take any of my visits because I knew I wasn't leaving home.
Wow.
When my mother had that breast cancer scare.
Wow.
So for this black woman,
I feel you, bro.
to make up this lie that I would fire her because she was diagnosed with cancer.
That's gotta hurt. That pierces you through your heart. Like, that's not even who you are.
It's messed me up so badly that, you know, when I say, man, right now there's only 3 full-time employees, it's me, my co-founder, my girl, and my mom. Part of that is because, man, I'm paranoid. And it hurts to be paranoid with my own people that I literally was trying to help, that I'm trying to uplift, that I'm putting money in your pocket. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm struggling with that one, man. I'm struggling with that one because I can't really comprehend how anybody, not even necessarily a black woman, but just anybody, I can't comprehend how anybody could do that to somebody. You know what I'm saying? I just that doesn't compute for me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you know, those things have definitely been hard to swallow. You know, when I see some of my own people who have their judgments of who they believe I am and have already started that, trying to tear me down, trying to tear Actively Black down, it hurts. And people are like, man, you shouldn't care what they think, man. You doing this, doing that. What you don't understand is everything is flowing from this place of love.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And in order for me to be this open to give the love, I'm also this open to be hurt.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The guy, man, this guy on this hoodie, man, Tupac, man. Man, shout out to the Shakur estate for blessing us with the opportunity to do a collab to honor Tupac. But I've been obsessed with Tupac for my whole life, man. And one thing that I feel like I always, for whatever reason, I recognize that I don't think a lot of people did, because everybody looked at the thug stuff, the gangster stuff. What I saw was a sensitive dude who loved hard. And anybody who knows, when you love hard, when that gets, you know, when there's an issue with that and you are either feel betrayed or hurt by that,
lash out.
The lash is just as strong as the love. And so to me, that's I see. You see a dude who was literally a walking ball of passion. That's who he was. You know what I'm saying? He was so passionate about our people, passionate about what he was doing, and at times that passion can get you in trouble. It gets me in trouble sometimes. Like, I will speak out of passion,
we feel it.
And it's not. And it's coming from the same place that the love comes from.
Yeah.
So when I sacrifice my salary to make sure that I am donating to Black Mamas Matter, who is fighting the abysmal maternal mortality rate where Black women are dying at 3 times the rate of any other woman in this country, that love, that's the same place that the anger or the disappointment comes from when my own people try to tear me down. It's coming from the same place. So if you want me to shut this down, I can't segment that. If you want me to shut this down, I gotta shut this down too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Hey man, that's good. That's really good. And here's what I'll say. You gotta maintain. You were created and built for exactly what you were doing. You were purposed for it. Everything that you experience, in the same way the experiences from your father, from your childhood, the duality with your mother have prepared you for the path that you're on now. even the pain is useful.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I talked on the podcast about when my father died and how I call it beautiful. I would never think I would ever call my mother and father's death beautiful. It's the most tragic, painful thing, but there's so much beauty in it because of the gifts that it's giving me, the insight that I can't even really quite explain, right? That it's preparing me for the path ahead. It's opening my eyes so that I can see beyond that vision that we talked about earlier. So everything that you're encountering, although, I mean, Jesus and Judas, right? Like, although, and all the people that pain Jesus and still do, although you encounter that, it's because you were building something that is greater than the average human experience, right? So you're gonna experience the fullness of life in that on that journey, and it's all gonna be used. You know what I'm saying? So that. I mean, man, that's I'm gonna pray with you through that. But man, I encourage you, man, just keep going, brother. We value you, we appreciate you. You are super necessary. You're one of one. You know what I'm saying? You look out on the landscape and you're inspiring others to be more vocal, to step outside of their comfort zones, to get from behind their families and their cozy couches and actually sit up and start podcasts and say something and do something, because you can do it. We all can do something.
Yeah.
Right. So the something that you do is genius, and it's beautiful, and it clothes the culture, and it clothes us beyond, like I said, garments, man. It clothes us with the codes that we know that are in us.
Clothes
and
the codes.
Yeah, you know I'm a writer. This guy makes it easy, man. I mean, what do you want me to say?
No,
so we
want
to tell you, thank you, brother. We appreciate you. We really look forward to the show, man. And congratulations on year 3. I hope it's not, as you said, the last one. Maybe the next one's gonna be Paris Fashion Week,
we'll
or
see, man. But
Nigeria or Ghana.
Come on.
I think Ghana or something's trying to set up something. You know what I'm saying? Like Nigeria Fashion Week.
Yo, listen,
Man.
You know what I mean?
We'll be there absolutely all day.
Oh yeah.
Lanny, my man, brother, you blessed us with so much insight, so much information, so much things.
Man, thank you.
We're filled with your story.
Sheesh.
We're behind you all day, and thank you for what you're doing for the culture, brother.
Appreciate y'all for having me, man.
And it's on.
Hey man,
My
what
man.
is this, man?
This is the Quiet Truth, baby.
Quiet Truth,
The
baby.
Quiet Truth.
This is a good one, man.